Hello and welcome to Hornbill TV's Prime at 9. I'm Akivito and now the headlines. The Northeast Festival, one of India's largest shared platforms, is back. The 9th edition of the festival began today in Radisson Blu Hotel in Guwahati. The Supreme Court has started the hearing on the plea seeking an urgent judicial probe into the breach of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's security during his visit to Punjab's Ferozpur on Wednesday. The Supreme Court on Friday upheld the constitutional validity of 27% observation for OBC and 10% for EWS categories for admission to medical courses for this year and allowed resumption of NEET PG counselling. The Delhi High Court on Friday granted bail to Rajiv Sharma, a freelance journalist arrested by ED under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 on the charges of supplying confidential and sensitive information to Chinese intelligence officers in exchange for remuneration. And now the news in details. The Delhi High Court on Friday granted bail to Rajiv Sharma, a freelance journalist arrested by ED under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act 2002 on the charges of supplying confidential and sensitive information to Chinese intelligence officers in exchange for remuneration. The bench of Justice Mukta Gupta on Thursday ordered to grant bail to freelance journalist Rajiv Sharma, who was arrested on July 1, 2021 by the Enforcement Directorate. He was earlier arrested by the Special Cell of Delhi Police. Earlier, ED stated that during the investigation, it was revealed that Sharma had supplied confidential and sensitive information to Chinese intelligence officers in exchange for remuneration, thereby compromising the security and national interests of India. And to know more on this contentious matter, we have with us our senior news analyst, Sir Albert Nguli, who is there with us, and we will talk more about this case that involves an espionage case and also the other details regarding this matter. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. First of all, sir, could you please give us a little background on who this freelance journalist Rajiv Sharma is?
Yeah, hello, Akivi. When Rajiv Sharma was arrested way back September 2019, the case was one of the most sensational in the Indian media. We have had a lot of espionage cases in the past, especially in India, linking journalists and reporters. But this came as a big shock because it involved nothing less than the Chinese, and you know how India is when it comes to China. Anyhow, Rajiv Sharma was a freelance journalist. He was not really associated with any media organization as a full-time employee. He was a freelance journalist, a contract journalist, and he was someone whose beat was basically defense-related studies, defense-related journalism. He wrote a lot about defense issues. And he was also reportedly writing for the Global Times. It's one of China's biggest news outlets. So he was writing for the Global Times, and it was during the time that he reportedly came in contact with the Chinese intelligence officers, from which I think the nexus started, for which the journalist was arrested by both the Delhi police and, of course, the Enforcement Directorate.
All right, sir. When it comes to the case being an espionage case, what were some of the charges that were against the freelance journalist Rajiv Sharma?
Yeah, Kivi, there are two cases against him, actually. both related to each other but separate cases. It's a very interesting case. In the first instance, he was arrested by the Delhi police, and this was on charges of spying, on espionage, and according to the authorities, the journalist allegedly sent sensitive information to the Chinese authorities, and this information contained those that could compromise the national and security interest of India. So that was the first case on which the Delhi police arrested him, Akivi. And second is from the enforcement directorate. It's very interesting because when he was arrested for the first time, it was on cases on charges of spying. The second was money laundering. The enforcement directorate arrested him in 2020 and charged him with money laundering. So both of these cases, money laundering, getting money from the Chinese authorities allegedly, and the first is for spying, but both of them are tied.
All right, sir. Like you said, it was interesting. So, from an espionage case, how can you tie the espionage case and the PMLA, and how are they intertwined against each other against Rajiv Sharma?
Yeah, you've got two cases against one person for two different cases again. It's very interesting, Akivi. I'll tell you, it's like this. When he was arrested for espionage, the idea, the angle of money laundering was not there. But the money laundering case came against him after he was arrested by the Delhi police. It came only after the whole remuneration angle came out. The money he was paid for the alleged sensitive information that he gave to the Chinese authorities. According to the authorities in India handling the case, he reportedly received about 40 lakhs in 1.5 years, Akivi. 40 lakhs. So that was the price for the information he allegedly gave to the Chinese intelligence officers, 40 lakhs. And according to the police, he received about US dollars 1,000, which in Indian money is about 74,200 rupees. Right. So that's a big amount. So the amount of money is where the government decided, hey, this guy is making a lot of money, and that is illegal also. So right. They started putting up charges against him through the enforcement directorate, and he was arrested for the second case, Akivi.
All right, so now that he's received a bail, does the bail have any prerequisites? Like, can he go back to his old job, or can he leave the country, or what is forward now? What is the next step for Rajiv Sharma?
Yeah, right now we don't have really a good look at the parole requisites, and for example, what the conditions the court said for him, right. And if there should be some kind of conditions of parole, then we have not seen it, and I have not really come across any such things. But right. This is a case that involves internal security and national interests of the country, and it is not something where the judge can easily let go of you and say, okay, you can spend your time with your family now, but get back after so and so date, you'll be in jail after that. It's not something like that. This involves a lot of sensitive angles, especially national interests. So I do believe that there will be stringent regulations and curbs on his movement.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for coming and updating us on this Rajiv Sharma case. Well, this Rajiv Sharma was a freelance journalist that just received bail from the Delhi High Court when it came from the ED against his money laundering case, and for which he has received a bail. It started off as an espionage case, but now it ended up with a Prevention of Money Laundering Act case, in which the ED has said that he has used his money from Chinese sources and he has spent it, which is illegal, and he's also transferred information that was not supposed to be leaked, but it has been leaked through him. Well, the Delhi High Court has given him bail. So now we will keep updating you on the further advancement on this story. Well, moving on to more news. The Northeast Festival, one of India's largest shared platform, is back. The 9th edition of the festival began today in Radisson Blu Hotel in Guwahati. The festival was inaugurated by Assam Governor Professor Jagdish Mukhi, and the 3-day festival will conclude on January 9th. On display are colorful cultural presentations about the northeastern region, a variety of exotic cuisines, spectacular exhibitions on the finest crafts, organic agricultural and horticultural products, regional fashion and fabrics, tourism, investment potential, and riverine culture of the region. As we can see, Governor has arrived and he is being welcomed with traditional dances.
This festival as the powerful podium to let everybody know about Northeast India and showcase Assam and northeastern states as a land of immense opportunities. It gives me pleasure to learn the discussions on the investments, startup, tourism development, river connectivity, agri-market linkages have been organized. However, what is heartening is all these discussions and initiatives have taken place in sync with the Make in Northeast, Startup Northeast initiatives and as part of the noble vision of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji for a vibrant Northeast India. I believe the program will encourage entrepreneurship and job creation for the region and will also help understanding the region. Under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, Northeast India is taking giant strides towards development. Connectivity has improved leaps and bounds. Security situation in the region has improved dramatically and the region is poised for great development processes. I am sure tourism will be a key driver of Northeast as the region is blessed with enormous tourism resources in terms of snow-capped mountains, wildlife, cultural diversity and pollution-free environment. I am happy to see Northeast Festivals is focusing on tourism through networking of our tour operators.
A landowner in Wokha district has filed a complaint with the police authorities against a construction company allegedly for stealing boulders for road construction work. The landowner, late Renthungo Kithan and Sons, has filed an FIR complaining against the general manager and project manager of Anusha Project Private Limited, a construction company currently working at New Wokha village in Wokha district for a road along National Highway 2, accusing the company of excavating and stealing stones and boulders while damaging the land area without paying the landowners for more than 4 months. Updates on January 7th stated that the landowner's family had requested the construction company for settlement of dues, but the general manager and the project manager failed to comply with the request even after an intervention from the district administration of Wokha dispatched on the 28th of October, directing the general manager of Anusha Project Private Limited to redress the issue prior to legal action. The family of late Renthungo Kithan and Sons filed an FIR stating that the company had exploited their land in the name of development and had failed to comply with an agreement between the family and Anusha Project. An FIR submitted to Wokha police station on the 6th of January demanded arrest of the accused. Later, the district administration intervened on the 7th and invited the complainant Zuchanbemo Lotha to discuss and resolve the issue on the 10th of January in the Deputy Commissioner's chamber in Wokha.
আচ্ছা itu kali আমি kan family para FR lose against Anusha company new coverage kora to jaga to itu ase yate tai kan chunde tai kan khushi ami kan landowner eku information adi kina yate chur kori thakise pathor itu nimide ami kan family discuss kori kina ami phone koribo tise to tai kan ami phone korise chamber request kori kina spot verified korise ami kan itu time de to pura encroach hoise এতিয়া এনা টাকা নহে itu time de to tai bara request korise ki hoise morom bara 1 lakh koribo apni kan ki hoise to ami kan 60 meter by 30 meter apni kan jaka lobo to agreement likhi kina tai kan ke dibi koise itu karne আমি লিখা নাই আমি কাম ফ্যামিলি তো ডিসকাস করিছে হলিবি আমি এক সপ্তাহ নিছনা রখিছে তাই জিএম বারা পার আমিকে ফোন করিছে এগ্রিমেন্ট দিবি কোয়া কারণে ফ্যামিলি বারা তো 15 লাখ পাথর লইছে পুরা দুটা 15 লাখ কইছে আমি সব কারণে ডেভেলপমেন্ট আছে ডেভেলপমেন্ট করে আছে হবো কই কিনা 9 লাখ সি মাগিছে তো তাই কান sob loa piche de to pathor nai ko ase aro itia to sob chaka itu kan sob poklen tinda barak edu excavate kuri na ena hoi jaise to yate chaka to khas pi tangor thakise edu kan kira kan sob tai kan othai kina kem de loi jaise aro edu natural calamities ko ase jem bara and our family have given several times information ena atise aro tai kan eku khobor dia nai even the respected deputy commissioner office barabi joldi edu fasla koribi chamala na ha ke de apni personally self explanation korigina lenono logo fasla koribi koise edu bi hinsab de nai aro ami dujon phone korisile tai meshi claim na koribi কি action লবি আপনি আমি রেডি আছে এনা বি চ্যালেঞ্জ করিছে তো আমি কানে এফআইআর করা তো এইটো আনটিল এন্ড আনলেস এইটো ইস্যু ফাসলা নকৰিছে গলে কেম তো ফোন কৰিব তাই কাম পেস কেম নিউ কভালেজ এইটো ফোন কৰিব ফোন কৰি কিনা ও সামান খান এইটো চাকা ডেমেজ হিলস্টোন পোল্ডৰ তাই কান লোৱা খান এইটো কান ৰিকভাৰি কৰিব আমি কালি এফআইআর করিছে এফআইআর তো পুলিশ স্টেশন বারা রিসিভ করিছে ওলিবি ডিসি এডিসি বারা আমি কে রিকোয়েস্ট করি কিনা এমান এগ্রেসিভ তো না চাবি এটা তো আমি কান লিভেল বারা অন 10 of this month that is January 2022 তে সব কোম্পানি কান বি ইনভাইট করিব আমি আম ফ্যামিলি বি ইনভাইট করিব এনেকা কোয়া কারণে আজি সার্কুলেশন তো আজি দিব কইছে এটিসি বারা তো তাতে ইনভাইট করি কৰিব কোৱা কাৰণে আমি কান এগ্রেসিভ নই কিনা কাম বি ফোন না কৰি কিনা এনেকা চাছে হলে বি আউটকাম satisfaction outcome on 10 day etu kan naulaisi gule ami kan to as per the FIR we have lodged etu insabara chabo etu sob jonai ase etu
The Aoyimti village in Dimapur celebrated 75 years of its existence on January 7th at the village's ground. Many of the Ao villages in and around from Dimapur also attended the celebration. Let's have a closer look at the program.
你两年入党部，你从一写当年是啥个一等按照保罗等级，但那是弄混不了，Z 我比他们 M 个里吧嘛，帮我干那些也里的吧，也吧，我如果你呀，business 也是的嘛。aro nang shiba nang chalo ali itang jambal de bagam business nya kargalan politics in kande sedina sano tamatu de vai gamale saga constituency balala saga Aoyimti kuina gali baloki bi mabamai tamlong a chungagi yaria tao otasu
pensioner de ma ani so ta me ni record nung jaung kaji basa tibung nuklangan na daktalia je pensioner de Aoyimti nung ler ase Aoyimti nung e tibung nuklang peze tashi government mabano masra private mabano employer de nuklang peze tashi ler literacy rate kudang around 2011 no OMDG 85% saga state po 82 ang ako state tentama ba je ase idaki school la lier ase medical nearby no medical institution private la lier ase private school la lier kam na school la lier communication tajong ase student nuklang daktali degree palala ang ubatum awim dinung yang uzaje ase ano infrastructure tanga ama masaga ang limited infrastructure liba yimkha iba yimzungya aluyim za sushibo chaka pramale ase panuk economy awim di economy ji salary economy does ita sanage survive asabayim.
The event expected the Nagaland Legislative Assembly Speaker Sharingan Lunkumar, but due to unavoidable circumstances, he could not attend the program. However, through a representative, he conveyed his message. Lunkumar in his message stated that Auyumti village, along with the country, has also progressed from a distant village comprising of not more than 30 families to a modern, educated and a developed village, not only in terms of households, but encouragingly in terms of contributions towards socio-economic indicators in the development of Dimapur as a district. He urged the citizens of Auyumti village to commemorate this 75th year as a victory towards illiteracy, poverty, absence of school and primary health facility, absence of basic panchayat infrastructure and robust sports infrastructure, electricity to every household, road connectivity in the village. He further urged the citizens to progress in turning Auyumti village into a model village.
The demand for Shamator district rally entered the fifth day today. The Yimking people have been holding rallies and protests demanding the state government to declare Shamator as the fully fledged district headquarters. Today's protest is being held in Pungro town, Shamator town and Chisor town, spearheaded by the Yimking Women Organization to relieve the Yimking menfolk who are protesting for the last 4 days. Protesters holding placards with a slogan, "Justice delayed is justice denied," besides praying for divine intervention. The Supreme Court on Friday upheld the constitutional validity of 27% reservation for OBC and 10% for EWS categories for admission to medical courses for this year and allowed resumption of NEET PG counselling. The Rs 8 lakh income criteria to identify EWS beneficiaries has also been allowed for this year. A detailed hearing on EWS reservation and identifying criteria will be held in the third week of March, the court said, adding it will consider the validity of EWS quotas at the time. These admissions will be subject to the final judgment of the Supreme Court. In the previous hearing held last week, the government told the court existing criteria to identify EWS beneficiaries would be retained for this academic year. The government said changing norms at this time, when admissions and allocation of colleges for the national eligibility cum entrance test students are ongoing, will lead to complication. Revised norms could be applied from next year, the government said. India on Friday breached the 1 lakh mark in its daily COVID-19 tally, with as many as 1,17,100 new cases being recorded in the last 24 hours. According to the latest updated data with the Union Ministry of Health and Family Affairs, the country's current active caseload currently stood at 3,71,363. The last time the country had recorded more than 1 lakh cases in a day was on June 6, 2021, when the second wave of the virus was wreaking havoc across India. The country's count of the highly transmissible Omicron crossed the 3,000 mark, 3,007 to be exact, with 1,199 patients having been cured as well. The fast-spreading strain is now present in 27 states. The daily positivity rate has now touched 7.74%, while the weekly positivity rate stood at 4.54%. With 302 patients dying due to the related complications, the death toll touched 4,83,178. As many as 30,836 people recovered from the disease in the last 24 hours, taking the cumulative tally to 3,43,71,845. With this, the recovery rate touched 97.57%. And that was all for the prime time. For more news and updates, stay tuned to HornbillTV. Goodbye.